How's it going, Reef Keepers? I just got finished with a pretty significant rearranging of the components of the main chamber of my sump. Even though it may not look like it, my sump is so squeezed for space that it was like an hour-long project to find room to fit this, which is my newest addition to the sump. It is a Nyos Torq 2.0. The body's 2.0 and the base is 2.0. And weirdly, after Black Friday, I've been looking at this for a long time, and because my phosphates started to creep up in the tank, just due to wanting to feed the fish more, and just my skimmer's not anything special. So I was poking around, looking at it for like a year, and I always was like, I really like the look of this thing, but there are terrible reviews associated with the Nyos Torq, and also it was always too expensive. I was just like, I can't do it. I'll just crank up my skimmer and hope. And weirdly, right after Black Friday, this was on sale. So it's like they didn't reduce the price of the chamber. The chamber was like 68 bucks. And then there was a weird note on the page for the actual chamber that said, if you add the Nyos Torq G2 base to your cart and then go to your cart and there'll be two of them, and if you remove one, then it'll go to $0 and you can have a free G2 base. And I was like, no way, that's crazy. And I did it and it worked. So I got the base and the actual reactor chamber for a grand total of like $68. It's unbelievable. So anyway, I had seen some reef keepers posting on forums to the effect of, look, the G1 was terrible, the original Nyos Torq, but the G2 is significantly better. And they were flummoxed at the amount of people who were still bad-mouthing this reactor. They were like, it works great now with the changes that they made in the G2 version. So we're like, I don't understand. So I was like, all right, I'm going to take those very few that I saw say it was good now with the G2 upgrade at their word. And it turns out they were absolutely right. So I'll give you a little walkthrough as to how this thing functions. So you've got your base, which has the actual motor in it that's, pumping the water up through the chamber. Then you can see on top, the water is coming out through a sponge, right? And it actually silently runs down the body. You can see the streams of water silently running down the outside of it, which is amazing. I mean, I feel like it looks really cool. I like the purple. It's the only purple thing in my sump, but it looks cool. And I mean, this thing makes no noise. There's no noise associated with it. So the reactor chamber or body that I bought was the 0.75 version, which means that there's not two, quote unquote, two levels inside of it. So if you get like a 1.0 or larger, there's this little screen that comes with it, and there's a second one that goes up higher in the body. So you can put two different kinds of media in it. Now let me grab the spare screen. They send you a spare screen. So this is what it looks like right here. They call it like a micro mesh screen or something like that. So there's a little notch in the bottom where it clicks in, and that's the screen right there that your media goes on top of. And I have in here right now, I'll show you the media. This is recommended by Reef Dork, by the way. I love his channel. This Nyos Fozzie X. I don't say it as cool as he does in his British accent, but yeah, this apparently reduces phosphate and silicates. So, can't hurt. I don't think I have a silicate problem, but it can't hurt. And apparently what's cool about it is that it lasts a while and you don't have to rinse it, which I had a little bit of clouding when I first put this in here, but not much. So I think that's pretty much true. And then the other cool thing is it's a little heavier than regular GFO. So if you see, I have this thing cranked pretty good, and you can see it dancing a little bit. I just got it doing a light dance in there. And so hopefully, I mean, this is the first time I've ever used phosphate reduction media in my tank. I only did 4 like level tablespoons of it. It's, from what I could tell online and what I watched in videos about GFO, it was like, you know, you should be using a lot of it. So if I'm being an idiot right now and I'm not using enough of it, don't hate on me. Like, I'm gonna you know, check for a few days and see how my phosphate's doing and if it's reducing. If anybody's curious, my phosphate was at clocking in at 0.17, which, yikes. I have never had it above 0.15. So once it went past that, I was like, okay, you know, I had this thing waiting basically on standby, and I was like, all right, tonight's the night. But here's kind of some more functionality of it. So you can see right here, there's a little lock. You see that lock symbol right there with the little notch right there? So apparently one of the criticisms of the original version was that you could like conceivably grab the top to pull the chamber up and off the base, and the top would like pop off, and then you'd get GFO all over your sump, which, yeah, that would have upset me too, for sure. But now they have this locking mechanism on it, and it's sealed with a rubber seal on the inside too. I mean, I had to pull fairly hard to get that I had to twist it and then pull fairly hard to get it off. So I'm not worried at all about that. Then here's here's how you adjust this thing. So right now it's running at this speed. You take the top and you gently twist it, and that will increase, or you twist it back the other way and decrease the flow. And people were saying that was fiddly. There's so many haters on this thing. Like, everybody says cool idea, but it's a total and utter failure. I mean, okay, I haven't used it for very long. It's only been going for a few hours here, but like, I'm confused. I'm confused at how there's so much hate for this thing, because so far, like, the actual adjustment mechanism and the locking features and everything, I'm pretty confident that it's working correctly. And then to get this base portion off, you basically, there's a position where you twist it all the way around. You can see this little purple arrow. So you twist it all the way around, and there's another purple arrow that matches up to it, and then that matches up to these notches on the around the perimeter of it, and you can pull it away. And I guess some people were saying that this purple base portion it also did not have a locking mechanism. So some people were going and pulling it up, and then apparently there was just like a seal and the bottom was falling out, and then GFO went everywhere. So like, yeah, the original version of it was clearly flawed. They fixed it with this one. There is also a similar locking mechanism like that right there on the base now, and it is firm. In fact, there's like a little dip in it, so that when you click it, it doesn't just go, you know, thunk into place. It goes like whoop, thunk, like it goes down around this little notch and goes thunk into place. So there's no way that thing's coming off. I've pulled it out of here several times, like just messing with it and playing with it for the last couple hours. There's no way. It's impossible. Also, they added suction cup feet. That was another thing people complained about, was that it was like moving all around. This thing is totally solid in place in here. And I have, like you can see, I have a wave maker down here with pretty steady flow. And again, a few hours, it hasn't moved a millimeter, guys. So, as for the performance, that's the one thing I can't speak to in this review. Because I'm going to be, of course, measuring my phosphate probably a couple times a day, because I'm paranoid. I don't want to, you know, nuke my tank and strip all the phosphate out of it and make all the corals freak out. But like, essentially, everything up to like the long-term performance of like PhosEx, and in conjunction with the Nyos Torq G2 reactor, that's the only thing I can't speak to, is that long-term performance of the media and the reactor together. everything else, like the mechanical side of it and how it all works together, I feel like I can speak pretty confidently on it and say the problems that did occur have been fixed. And I feel like this is a problem in the reef keeping hobby where like a company comes out with a cool new idea. It looks cool, so people, and it should be cool, so people buy it. And then there are some first generation flaws, and instead of just, and again, I understand it's expensive, so you're angry. But basically, I feel like this thing got review bombed by some super furious people who were like a vocal minority that were super loud about it. And I'm not just talking about the first edition, I'm talking about the G2. I see all this hate on the G2, and a lot of it is complaints that only apply to the G1, like complaining about things that were fixed in the G2 model. So it worries me that like BRS was like at some point handing out free bases to it. Like, does that mean they're going to discontinue this product? Because this is an amazing product. Look at the footprint of it. It's so manageable, even for my tiny little sump. So anyway, I hate when like review bombing stuff happens in this hobby, and there's this, piling on, this dog piling that like drives a company into the ground, the sales tank on one of their products, and it could be a revolutionary product, and they just give up. They're like, well, the hobby hates us. And I don't know. It disappoints me that that's been going on with this, because in my unesteemed opinion, I'm just some guy. I understand that. I'm not like some seasoned 10, 15, 20 year, veteran reef keeper. But I generally know kind of sort of what I'm doing, and I love gear, and I feel like this G2 version knocked it out of the park. I mean, this thing is pretty impressive, guys. So I absolutely, based on what I've seen and how it functions, and like looking at all the weak points that they addressed when they upgraded this thing to the G2 version, I absolutely recommend it. Again, I'll post a long-term review like a few months down the road about like the performance of Fozzie-X and the Reactor and reducing phosphate, but like mechanically, like this is what this review is focusing on. This is a pretty fantastic product. So yeah, it's really cool, and I'm happy I got it, and I'm happy I got it at the price I got it at. It was a steal. So all right, guys, if you're enjoying my product reviews or any other videos, please give me a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate the support.